Yes, we're back, people. It's just you and I. And you know what? I can't remember the last time I said that. There's been so much madness over the international break in terms of collaborations, going on people's channels, people coming on here. When's the last time it's just been my audience and me? I miss that. I need to do more of these Arsenal talk shows where it's just me, you guys, and the chat and the Arsenal talk. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So big up to everyone that's here. Make sure you do me a favor nice and early. Hit the like button, please, and subscribe to the channel. We are moving so close to 6-0, the big 60. That is the next target, 60,000 subscribers. If you are new and you have not done so already, make sure you hit subscribe and you hit the like button. We're going to be talking all things Arsenal today. There's been some injury updates. There's been some team news. Arteta has had a press conference. It's time to rotate for tomorrow night. That is my big message to Arteta and to the boys. Now, I'm not saying go mad and do wholesale changes. I'm just saying there's a couple of players that really need to be rested in this game, in my opinion. And we're going to discuss that. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're also following OK Jerseys. You get 8% off for Christmas using the code 12MAN, 12MAN. Go and get whatever kit you want and with anyone on the back of it. It will come in time for Christmas. Make sure that you do it now and that you are supporting those. They've been fantastic sponsors for us. So make sure you show them some love as well, please, people. Look, I'll be real with you guys. I've got some channel merch and I'm wearing it. Channel merch is here. And do you know what? It's one of my favorite players. It is similar to the one behind me. It is, of course, Thierry Henry. If you would like this, there is a link in the live chat now, which is pinned, and also it's in the description. If you use the code FTM20, you'll get 20% off for Christmas on all the products. Now, let me show you what we're talking about here. Channel merch is something I've wanted to do for quite some time, but I have to bring up Fran's football art. She has been fantastic. And I'll tell you why she's been so fantastic, because she's pretty much done this for me. She's been incredible. She's always been a talented artist. I've always been a big fan of hers. But look at what she has done. We have now got this design on hoodies. We've got this design on T-shirts. There's even a picture of me modeling it outside the Emirates. We've got the T-shirt also as well with Thierry Henry design. And of course, the 12th man logo on the sleeve as well. If you would like a hoodie that is not just a front design, that is just the back, then you can, of course, have this one, which is me modeling it outside the Emirates as well. And these are going very quickly, people. So please make sure that you go on there. If you would like the code FTM20 for Christmas, then please make sure we do. Let me know in the chat which your favorite hoodie is, man, because I really like the one I'm wearing. There is, of course, the black one. You can get that on the front and, of course, on the back, the design as well. And we've got the T-shirts. If you would like accessories and something a little bit different to get someone for Christmas, then please make sure that you check out the other stuff that we've got. These mugs are unbelievable. I've got the mug myself. I'm not drinking out of it now because I've got some juice, but I was drinking out of it earlier with my cup of tea. We've got a great photo that you can hang on your wall as well here. And we've also got a water bottle. If you are into football, as you can see here with the boots, it goes perfectly well. So please make sure that you do go check it out. The link's in the description and in the live chat. If you need a mouse mat, then we've got mouse mats. We've got posters just for a poster on the wall. We've got you covered, people. So go and show some love. Make sure that you are using that code, though. FTM20, FTM20. You get 20% off. We're doing that for Christmas at the moment as well. Yes, the roundabout will be on tonight at 10 o'clock after the Premier League game. So we will have a panel for that at 10 p.m. So make sure you join and you come back for that one as well. But we've got unbelievable channel merch. These hoodies are sick. Look at this. Look at it. Look how handsome I look as well. And then we've also got the design on the back as well. So go show some love. Make sure you click on the link in the description. And we do ship all over the world. So if you are interested, then please do get involved. So yeah, make sure you use the code though, FTM20. Get that 20% off for this month only in time for Christmas. We're already selling a few bits. Only literally went live yesterday. And I've been amazed how many people have been interested in this design. I mean, it is sick. Let's be real. Fran's football art. Go and show her some love. She even had, Jurriën Timber, like her picture the other day that she did of him. She had Leandro Trossard's wife reach out to her and say, please, could you do a Leandro Trossard design with his superhero eyes? And she did it. Honestly, incredible. So big up to her, and make sure you're supporting the club merch, and we can all get this 12-man community wearing these hoodies and T-shirts. Big up to you all. Of course, we've got the logo on the sleeve as well here. So there you go. So make sure you're supporting. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get back to Arsenal, shall we? Because that's what you're here for. Big up to everyone that's here. Big up for everyone that's hit like and subscribe. If you haven't done so, make sure you're doing so now. And we're going to talk about the injury updates, right? Because there's been a lot of talk on who's going to be fit tomorrow night. There's been a lot of talk on who's going to be available, what you would do, who you would start, where we're going to go with the kind of predicted 11. We're going to get into all of that. We are. We're going to talk about it tonight on the Arsenal Roundabout as well, which will be at 10 o'clock. So please come and show some love there as well. But let's first talk about the Chelsea game very quickly. And some of the kind of aftermath from it. I'm not going to go into like what happened. I think we've done that to death. But I'm just so surprised at some of the Chelsea fan base, because some of the Chelsea fans have been able to dunk on Arsenal for quite some years. Drogba, Lampard, Terry, Carvalho, Kante even, Makelele, all back in the days across different eras. SEN, that goal will never be forgotten. But I look at it and I just think, this is not the same Chelsea, but the fans are acting like it is. Now, the fans are going on like this was an absolute given, that Arsenal thought they were going to come there and win 4 or 5-0. I didn't actually hear many Arsenal fans say that, but trust me, there would have been some, right? There would have been some. But I just get frustrated when I see some of the Arsenal chat and some of the Chelsea chat, because I just think it's waffle. Now, I remember last season when we were at the Etihad and we went down to 10 men with Trossard kicking the ball away. And we were told that we bottled it and we weren't able to hold on. The mentality weren't there. It's not elite mentality. Then you flip role, reverse it. And Chelsea have done the same and held on against Arsenal. And they've been seen as unbelievable performance, outstanding. I just need it to remain consistent. That's all I'm asking. Not just through Arsenal and Chelsea, but rival fans as well. They're looking at things saying it's a massive shame that Arsenal, look, I was as disappointed as anybody, right? And I think Chelsea fans were disappointed. But I don't think we're going to know if that's a good point or a missed opportunity until May. But I really don't think it's as bad of a point as what some people are making out to be. I think we might look at it and go disappointing, and I certainly was one of those. I was a bit pissed off. I was a bit frustrated that we weren't able to beat 10 men. But I'll be real with you. If you would have said to me in December we'll be 5 points clear of the and top of the table, and teams around us like Chelsea and Liverpool be further away from that, I'm taking it. I'm gonna bite your hand off for that, if I'm honest with you. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm now happy and it's clear and it's white flags for everyone and Arsenal are going to win the league. And I did say that if Arsenal won against Chelsea, they would go and win the league. I can't sit there and say that I can get my chest out much for that now because we didn't do that. But I truly believe that we could have actually gone clear by quite some, and we weren't able to do that. So that's what disappointed me the most. I just find it very bizarre that some of the Chelsea fans are getting very excited. We've got this, we had that. I can't believe we dunked on you. Oh my God, we get that. And then it's like, was it 3-1 then? I saw the result as 1-1. What's happening here? Oh yeah, well, we're not excited. What are you gassing your team up for then? Of course you're excited. And I just find it funny, and I'll say it again, that for a team that has the 2 best fullbacks in the league, apparently, that has the best midfield in the league, that has the best 18-year-old that's generational, that will go and do mad things like Lionel Messi, I just expected them to be a little bit more disappointed than a draw against Arsenal at home. That's all I'm saying. So look, that was Chelsea. We move now, and let's be real. Let's look at that week that we've just had. That is a tiring, exhausting week for fans, let alone the players. Bayern Munich in the middle, sandwiched between Chelsea away and Spurs in the North London derby at home. And I actually think we got away with all 3 games feeling fairly positive, other than the last one where we didn't even lose. We've come away not playing well. We've come away disappointed, and we didn't even lose the game. So I think we're in a good position, people. We really are. We're really in a good position. So let's just stick with it and move on to the next game, which, of course, is Brentford. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Brentford because I do believe personally that there are some injury worries or injury concerns. And I wanted to go through the press conference with you all because that's something I like to do very quickly with Mikel Arteta in relation to who's available, who we think will be playing, and who he actually knows to be fit. So let's go through that. Okay, here we go. On the latest injury news, Arteta said as such. He said, I'm not going to be able to help you much today because we have another training session later on. Until that happens, we won't know what's going to happen with a few of the doubts that we have. He was asked on Saliba, and he said he had a little niggle, so I think it's going to be a matter of days. So let's see if he's able to be there tomorrow. And on the latest on Trossard, it's a matter of days as well. So I think those two are fairly promising. I don't know if they'll both start. I don't know if they'll both be a part of the game against Brentford, but I expect them to be back for Aston Villa definitely at the weekend. And if I'm honest with you, I wouldn't play Trossard or Saliba in this one. I know people want them because they've been great, but let's just be real. We should be able to get the job done without Trossard and Saliba against Brentford at home. And if they are not 100% fit, I'd rather them be fit for Villa. Now, I actually think both of them probably will be on the bench tomorrow night. But it wouldn't surprise me if they just kept them completely out and just let them see this game out and have Saturday in their minds to go all out against Aston Villa. That's what I would say. So that's kind of where I'm at, really. I don't think it's a madness to think that, Saliba and Trossard, have to be a part of this midweek game, because I think they're great players, but I think we should be able to cover them if they're out. And I'd rather them be fit for Aston Villa. So that's what I will say. So looking at the latest injury news, they're the two that he knows are a matter of days. There's obviously players out longer than that. We're talking about Jesus back on the bench now, but that doesn't let us forget that Kai Havertz and Gabriel are still out, right? They're still out. So hopefully we start to get a fully fit side soon. Then he was asked on Kai Havertz and the latest on Kai Havertz and the latest on Gabriel. He said that Kai Havertz is a matter of weeks. He said that let's see how it evolves in the next few weeks. He's doing really well. He's doing stuff on the pitch, but I think he needs some time. And I do too. I don't want to rush these players back. They've been out for a long period of time. And then asked on the latest of Gabriel, he said Big Gabby's doing very well as well, but that's weeks as well. So we're talking about Trossard and Saliba potentially being back for tomorrow night, if not for the weekend. And then the only two long-term out would be Havertz and Gabriel. Everybody else now looks to be either fit or on the bench. That is a very healthy squad now. But we are getting these niggles, and it is frustrating me. He said on facing Brentford, it's an opportunity tomorrow at 7:30. Everybody, 7:30 kickoff to be at the Emirates bouncing, putting energy into the game. And that's the opportunity that we have tomorrow. Like animals, everybody at the Emirates to go again and beat Brentford. It's vital. It's massive. He's obviously putting a lot on the fans there to be there early, to get the atmosphere going and to get the players up for it. Now, let's be real. The players need to be up for it with or without the fans, right? But they do help, and we have our job to do tomorrow night, and we'll be there. But the fitness now, I think it's an interesting one for who starts, who comes off the bench, and who we can rest. Because I'm actually not bothered by Trossard and Saliba being out and getting them returned for tomorrow night. I'm more worried about who he's going to play and who he's going to rest. I really need to see Rice rested. I really need to see Saka rested. I really need to see Timber rested. And I think we can do it now. I do think we have the players now. I really do. And I'm not going to sit there and say that we need to make wholesale changes against Brentford, because I think that would be silly, right? But I don't think it would be a bad shout resting some of the players that we've been relying upon week in, week out consistently, that we just need now to be looking at as humans and say, you might need a break. You might need a break now. You might need a rest. You might need a break. And it might be an opportunity for you to sit this one out and be fit, of course, for the Aston Villa game away, which is going to be absolutely key. We're playing every 3 days now, people. Every 3 days we're playing. I think it's an opportunity now to really look at this as an opportunity to play some of the players that deserve a game. Maybe some of the players that have been sat on the bench that might need to be given some minutes. That's what I would say. So I think it's interesting for Mikel Arteta to talk like that about, the position of some of those individuals and the fitness of them. Because Saliba, I heard it was a knock. I knew it wasn't going to be a big one that kept him out for weeks, right? I knew it wasn't going to be. But you just want him fit and properly fit, not rushed back. And I don't think we should be rushing these players back, man. I just don't think we need to. So that's kind of where I'm at. Sorry, I'm doing two things at once here, trying to put together a team that I would go with, which we'll come on to in a minute. But look, let's go for the rest of this press conference now. So asked about Brentford, he says, talking about the motivation, he said it comes from preparation, how we prepare for every game to try to be better than the opposition, where we are in the league and what we're doing. I don't think we need any more motivation than that. That's a fair answer. On resting players, here we go. We try to manage every case and every individual in relation to how they feel in the context of matches, adjust with the only purpose to have the best options on the best pitch and to be better than the opponent. That's it. Now, let's be real. I've quite liked Mikel Arteta's performances as a manager this season. I actually have. I felt like he's learned a little bit. I felt like he's got better in terms of his game um, messages, his in-game management, and some of his team selection and substitutions, I think, have improved. But I do need to see more. And people might think that, oh, he's never going to be happy, this lad, with Arteta. But what I'm not happy with is when Gabriel's coming on in a Carabao Cup game. I'm not really happy that Saka and Gabriel and Timber and these guys are being utilised in those matches when they're playing so much and everything else. And we saw last season, didn't we, that Saka got injured and he was playing against Preston and Bolton. We saw Gabriel get injured when he was playing in the 7-1 game where we were 7-1 up against PSV and he played him. And I thought, why are we playing him? Boom, hamstring goes against Fulham. What was the point of that? Now, look, it can go at any time, but give yourself the best chance of keeping these players fit. And I just think sometimes he's still got to learn better at that. So that's where I'm at. So we'll see what happens. But I do think that it's interesting here that he said on resting players, he adjusts with the only purpose to have the best options on the pitch. We tried to manage every case and every individual. Well, I agree with that. And I think it's not just him. It's the fitness staff as well. It's the coaching staff that I've got to look at that as an opportunity too. But let's just be realistic. There's been times that Arteta could have definitely rested and looked after Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, Rice a hell of a lot more, Saka than he has. I've got to be real. I've got to be real. I don't think he's always done that. So I hope that improves this season. Then he was asked on whether there'll be an opportunity for Benjamin White. He said there's definitely an opportunity for everybody. He said that the physicality comes from different areas in relation to the pitch. I think every game that we play, you look at the intensity of the Premier League against any opponent, what's needed is incredible. Brentford bring different threats and different challenges, as we all know, and you need to dominate if you want to win the game. Benjamin White gets a nod for me tomorrow night. I'll be resting during Timber. I think he's been on absolute fire, but I do think he is in need of a rest. And Ben White needs minutes. So I do think that Ben White is not a huge drop-off from Timber, although I do think Timber's a hell of a lot better. I think we do need to be playing him. And on the physicality, this is the Premier League, man. It's always going to be physical. He was asking on whether we're seeing more time wasting. He said the game has evolved and the rules have evolved, and that's going to be constant. If you look into the Premier League now, how many minutes we're playing, the actual effective time that we are playing, the effective time that we played on Sunday, there are a lot of things to look at and evolve. Goalkeepers going down as an example, but there are many others that constantly evolve. The game and the rules have to be evolving because everybody tries to take an edge. He said, yes, it's frustrating, especially when you're on the other side. That's just football evolving. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's anything. I think it's just what it is. I don't think the Arsenal fans can be devastated that we're playing differently because we're winning football matches doing that. At the end of the day, I don't care how we win matches. I just want to win them. It would be brilliant to do Pep or Klopp style football and win. It'd be brilliant to go back to Wenger and Fergie days and win, but it's not always like that. Let's be real. Okay, let's continue. He was asked on whether Declan Rice has exceeded expectations after signing him. He said, I think it's very close to what we believed that he could bring to the club, what he could bring to the team, and the way that he could grow personally. I think he fully deserves it. I think he's been incredibly consistent throughout the last 2 years. The last season, again, in big matches, big moments, he's stepping up. Massive thing to do. He wants to fulfill that role at a big club, and I'm delighted that he got that. Yeah, I think he's been outstanding. I must admit, I think Declan Rice has been one of our best players. I really think he's been outstanding. There's nothing I can say about what Declan Rice is doing in the moment that I'm disappointed with. I think he's been nothing short of sensational in a box-to-box role. And Zubimendi is a massive part to play in that in terms of what Arteta has done to bring him in to actually complement Declan Rice. I think it goes under the radar too much. He was asked on whether he expected Mourinho to become a striker. He said no, as a striker, certainly not. But that's the thing as well. You learn when you sign a player. I knew that he could offer much more than what he had. And especially after I met him for the first time, a player that has been that amount of curiosity and the amount of questions that he's asked, how willing he is to learn and constantly the way he loves his profession of football, it's difficult to put limits to that. Because when someone wants to grow every single day, is that determined and that hungry to win and evolve and to be part of something that's very powerful. And Mikel certainly has that. I think he's been a great signing. He's been a squad player that's come in and done the job. When he started in midfield, I didn't quite get it. I thought £30 million, not too sure that's the one to take us to the next level. But I'll tell you what he has done. He's come in and he's given his absolute all. He scored some important goals. He's been a massive part in what we did that was good at the back end of last season in the Champions League. And at the start of this season, he's been called upon again in a position that he's not supposed to be playing. And I think he does well there. That's all I'll say about Mikel Mourinho. He was asked on Christian Norgard. He was asked on why he signed him. He said he signed him because of what he saw on the pitch. Everything he heard about him as a leader. and the role that he could fill and the role that he was going to have here. The moment I picked up on the phone and spoke to him, he was super excited to join us. He brings something that we don't have in the squad, and I'm very happy to have him. He was asked on David Reyes. He's an amazing goalkeeper. Great story as well, how it happened. We tried to sign David much earlier, but it was as soon as I arrived, and he had to wait another 2 years. The start that he had and the journey that we had together has been phenomenal for us, and I'm very happy to have him. He was asked on whether he's been the best signing he's made. He said it's a very difficult question to answer, but he's certainly one that's taken us to a different level, and he's certainly a player that's brought something to our way of playing. He's not the best. He's not the best signing. In fact, let's give you a poll now, shall we? Right? Let's have a bit of fun. Arteta's best signing. I'll give you some options. Arteta's best signing. I'll go with Rice. I'll go with Raya. I'll go with Gabriel. And I'll go with Timber. If there's someone that you do not agree with on that list, then let me know. You might want to go with Odegaard. Maybe you think it's one of the guys from this season. Let me know what you think. We'll do a poll. We've got 230 of you in here. We're over that. Let's see who you go with, shall we? Right now, a lot of people picking Declan Rice. I know he was £100 million, but he's been worth every penny. 50% of you have now said Gabriel, who's winning the poll. Timber and Raya have got 7% each. It's an absolute tie at the moment between Gabriel and Rice. Everyone's very, very impressed by what they've seen from Gabriel and Rice. But Gabriel is winning. For me, it's Gabriel. If I'm honest, in that order, I would go with Gabriel. I would go with Timber. I would go with Rice, and I'd go with Raya. They're the four that I would go with. Sterling would be my fifth. No, Odegaard would be my fifth. But I look at it now and think that it has to be Gabriel, to be honest. I think he's been unbelievable. What other options have we got in here? What are people saying? Put in your signing, Arteta's signing. Who are you going with? Rice? Havertz? Yeah, that's clearly a laugh. Gabriel for Ballon d'Or. Can you imagine? Sterling? Oh, wow. Can you imagine? Yeah, let me know who you think in the chat. Get involved in the poll. 48% of you believe it's Gabriel. 27% of you say it's Rice. We've got 19% say Timber and Raya at 4%. So there we go. Let us know who you think. Okay, we go on to whether we'll see goals from open play. I hate this question. You know, I'm not even going to bother with that question because I can't stand that being asked. Of course, we want to score goals from open play. He was asked on whether the supporters could be any more positive towards the team. You can always be more positive, especially when you play a different type of game. And that's where you have to lift the standards. The team and the fans and ourselves, with the way we're going to play tomorrow, to lift everyone and make sure that we produce the same energy, atmosphere, and positivity around the place. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's all. We can always do more. Injuries being a theme of the season. He said, especially how we lost them. The injuries, Leandro Trossard. Leo was in a great moment. Gabby Martinelli just coming back. We had to manage his minutes. He wasn't able to play more than he did on Sunday. Managing that, the fact that obviously Saliba trained the day before and then he was uncomfortable. Players are not training in certain positions, having to play there. But again, the attitude towards it and the way that the players are performing and giving absolutely everything they can to fulfill those absences has been the key part of the season because we have to deal with a lot already. Look, I'll be real. I don't think he's making excuses there. I think he's actually being honest. We've got a squad now that can cope with these injuries. Beforehand, we did not. He would be going mad beforehand. He'd be saying how unfair it is and how we can't do much about it and there's nothing more and he's doing everything he can. But actually right now, he's not really moaning about it. He's just stating the obvious. That's all he's doing. He's stating the obvious. So that's what it is. On last season, preparing him for this season, yes, this season's been the worst in some areas, especially in the front line. He's talking about injuries. And now what's happening with the back line. But we learn and we were able to put together a squad that's much more reliable and has more options. Facts. We learn from the past as well that we have to use players in different positions and they have to be able to fulfill different roles if we want to compete at this level. And the example of Mikel Merino that I was expressing before is the best one probably. On Kai Havertz suffering a setback, he was doing everything. He could not go to the next level. And now it's looking like we've unlocked that. We're all desperate to have him. It's a player that personally I love. So so much for what he brings to the team, his character, his personality. I see him suffer being outside. His playing record is phenomenal. He's always been available, and I can't wait to have him back around the team now because I think it's going to be a massive boost for the team. Look, I'll be real with you. Kai Havertz has always, in my eyes, been a squad contributor. And I think what Kai Havertz would do is come on and give us a different dimension. But Mikel Arteta absolutely loves him, and you can tell there that he loves him. And I just can't help but feel that when he's back, I think he might be our striker again, in his eyes. On Declan Rice being a lighthouse, that's the way I perceived him, that he could potentially be in a lighthouse, and now he's become a lighthouse. which is a very difficult thing to do, big club at Arsenal. But he fully deserves that. He's done it with every step of the way. And first of all, behaviour, acting, and performances and attitude that are at the highest level. He's one that I'm sure myself, the club for sure, we're going to have him here for many, many years. I love that. I love that. I don't care about being a lighthouse. I don't care what he is. I know that he 100% needs to be at Arsenal for the next 10 years. He is an absolutely phenomenal talent and one that I will always, always follow the journey of now and like. He's been one of my favourite players and he's close to being my favourite player. Him and Saka. Love it. He's talking on the big week. He said, starting from Spurs, I learned a lot as well about the international break again and what happened. For example, what happened with Gabby and how can we correct that so that it never happens again. And we play a team game in a way that, again, we have to learn. And watching them, you always learn from it. So that's interesting. He said fair play on the Spurs game, but he's looking at Gabriel thinking, well, how did that happen in the international break? Like, how are we allowing that to happen? You know, I think he's disappointed. And I appreciate he wants to play for Brazil, but I also think that Arteta needs to look at himself and Gabriel needs to look at himself and go, right, the manager's not going to look after me. He's going to play me all the time. So I'm going to have to take a break from Brazil just for this game and go back to the next game. Or the other way around. I know this guy's going to want to play for Brazil, so I'm going to have to rest him before he goes out there. One of those things got to change. Otherwise, we're going to get this again. Bayern Munich brought different qualities, players that you don't see weekly, but we needed the potential of it. And obviously that what they were doing, and we took a lot from them. Then last weekend, the same amount of games that you have to play within a week game and what happened at Stamford Bridge in that sense, it's enormous. I think it's the perception of what happened and actually what happened and why it happened. So it's a huge learning curve. Let's move down to the last few games. I'll ask you questions, here, which is on whether he sees fixtures as blocks of games. Sometimes yes and sometimes no. Sometimes you play against back four or teams that are very direct and rely on what to take to a result of a set piece, or against other teams that are completely different. We face for a period of time a lot of back fives and low blocks. Yeah, that's difficult playing low blocks. This low block of 3 games has been different. Sometimes you're just lucky to you say, okay, now for this period, this is going to help us for the next few games. And sometimes you just have to alter it. I think you've got to take each game at a time because all the opposition are different. And then he was asked on Saliba's injuries being random. He said, well, the ankle one, it was a really random one and a very unlucky action that kept him out for a few weeks. He tried at Anfield. He wasn't comfortable and we had to stay away. And this one as well was very bizarre, but hopefully it'll be a matter of days. There we go, people. That's Mikel Arteta. On the why we are, how we're preparing for Brentford, some of the injury problems and some of the issues that we've had. So that's on him. Have you left AFTV too? No. I was on there the other day and I'm on there tonight actually at 7 with Cecil. So yeah, you go. Hand of Arsenal, you're a ledge, my bro. Let's make you a mod actually. Big up to you, bro. Big up to Dan. Big up to you, mate. And yeah, if you're not following Hand of Arsenal, I don't know what you're doing. Make sure that you are because he knows his stuff, man. He knows his stuff. Let me be honest with you. Let me make you a moderator, bruv. There we go. Lovely. Done. Okay, let's end the poll here. We've got 47% of you that say Gabriel, 35% of you that say Rice, but he has won it. Big up. Big up to you, Hand of Arsenal. Hope you're well, my bruv. And yeah, I'm sure we'll catch up very, very soon. There we go. That's the press conference. Let's now talk into what I would do this weekend. Midweek game. Let's move on to this tomorrow. I actually do think we need to make a few changes. And I'll tell you why I think we need to make a few changes. Because I truly believe this Villa game is going to be horrible. I don't think it's going to be nice. It wasn't very nice last year. If you remember, we won 2-0, but actually Ollie Watkins missed pretty much 2 open goals. David Raya was on absolute smoke that day. And if we remember what we are up against, it's an Unai Emery side that's well drilled. It's a team in Aston Villa that right now are looking good for a Champions League spot. The way they're playing is probably one of the most informed in the league. And it's an Aston Villa that couldn't score for Toffee in the first 4 games that are now looking like they're one of the most informed teams. So I think personally, there's a real opportunity here for us to set up wisely tomorrow so that we can give our best chance of fitness for the weekend. That's what I would say. So this is what I would go with. Now, some of you might not agree with this and think this is totally madness, but we're all friends here. We can talk about it and discuss it without falling out. This is the team that I would like to see. And I'll go through each position as to why I've gone for that. Okay? Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe. And let me know what you think of this team. We've got David Raya in goal. I have gone with him just because I don't see the point of changing goalkeepers unless they're injured. At right back, I'm resting Timber. He has to be rested now. I can't see him looking again into this scenario and saying, I've got another bloody game that I've got to play. Ben White is a good player. Ben White deserves a mention, and I think he deserves to start this one. I put Calafiori in just because he came off against Chelsea. But as Ryan says in the chat, he's very, very stuck for yellow cards. So it might be that Lewis-Skelly starts this one at left back, but we'll come back to that in a minute. In Capie and Mosquera, I'm happy for them to continue just because Saliba, I don't want to rush him back for this one. I hope he's back for the weekend. I didn't think they were great against Chelsea, but I certainly didn't look at them and think they were out of place. I just didn't think they were. I think people were a bit harsh on what they expected from them. I think they expected both players to come in, play together for the first time, be magnificent, be spoken about and overhyped, and play out from the back like Gabriel and Saliba do. They're not going to do that. They're not going to play out the back like Gabriel and Saliba because they're not Gabriel and Saliba. They're not going to be a threat from corners or set pieces like Gabriel because they're not Gabriel. And they're not going to be as calm and composed on the ball like Saliba because they're not Saliba. But I tell you what, the drop-off from Gabriel and Saliba to Nkapie and Mosquera is nowhere near what it would have been if it was Kivior and Holding. I'm sorry, it wouldn't have been. So for me, I'm okay with these two. In midfield, I've gone with Zubimendi because Declan Rice needs a rest. He just does, people. He needs to be rested now. I can't see this guy playing again, bombing up and down. Happy to see him against Villa, but he gets a rest for me. Zubimendi came off, if you remember, because he was on a yellow. So I'm going to start Zubimendi. Norgard could start this one. It wouldn't surprise me because he used to play for Brentford, but I think it's going to be Zubimendi. And I've gone with a rest for Eza, but he could play Eza and Odegaard. But it actually is going to be Lewis-Skelly that I want to see in midfield because I truly believe we're in a position where Miles Lewis-Skelly needs to get some game time. And when there's an opportunity for him to be brought into midfield, I think he's the only player that can do what Declan Rice does. Now, he's not going to do it anywhere near the level of Declan Rice. But in terms of his athleticism, in terms of his box-to-box roles, and in terms of his actual drive forward on the ball, I don't think Marino can do it. Ethan's definitely more attacking. Eza is probably more attacking. Odegaard is definitely more attacking. So I think if we're going to play someone alongside Zubimendi, it would be Miles Lewis-Skelly. But if he wants to play this kind of formation I've got here, where two at either side playing attacking eights, I think Miles Lewis-Skelly would be the shout that I'd put there. But it wouldn't surprise me if it isn't. And we go with Eza or maybe Marino in midfield or something like that. Odegaard, I think, needs to start now. We need to see what he's about. He's come back on a couple of times against Bayern Munich and against Chelsea. I need to see what he's about now. I really do. Ethan Nwaneri would be one that I would shout to get more minutes. But I think right now, he's probably going to favour Odegaard. So I didn't see the point of putting Ethan in there because as much as I would play him, I don't think the manager's going to. So I've tried to keep it a little bit of what I'd like to see and what I think the manager would do, and give it a bit of a balance. And that front three, I know that people might say it's a little bit more of a backup either side, but I do need to see Saka rested. I don't think he's been quite himself. And although he was okay against Cucurella, I don't think he was outstanding. And I certainly don't think he's been outstanding this week, to be fair. So I will say, out of everybody that I thought would have a good game, Saka was one of them. In all three games, he's been fairly quiet, to be honest. I think he needs a break. I think he needs a rest, and I'm happy to play him at the weekend against Villa. Madueke, I need to see him on the right-hand side. I don't want to see him on the left. I just don't. I don't like seeing him on the left. I don't think he's as good on the left. I don't think he's as effective on the left. Certainly for me, he's definitely better at taking on his man on the right-hand side and cutting him with his left foot and having a dig. So I think that for me is where I want to see Noni. Gabriel Martinelli, I thought was invisible against Chelsea, if I'm honest with you, but had impressed me against Bayern and has impressed me this season. So I'll go with Gabby Martinelli on the left-hand side. And then Victor Gyökeres, I think, needs to start. I think he looked like he was a player that was having a little bit of a statement, really. He came on and he was trying to do what he could. Obviously tried a bit too hard and nearly fouled the goalkeeper for the shot that Marino had that parried out to him, which I think he's absolutely entitled to go for. I just think that Gyökeres might need a little bit more time. So I'm going to say let's give him some more time. Let's start him, see what he's like, see if he can score against Brentford, and then see if he can keep his place against Villa. That then gives Marino a rest, who I actually think deserves a rest because he has been kind of everywhere, really, and he's playing out of position. I think it's time to use this squad wisely, and I think that is what we could be doing there. And Eza, people say, where's Eza? But he kind of has played every game. We're resting Eza, we're resting Saka, we're resting Marino, we're resting Rice, we're resting Timber. I think that is a wise thing to do. We're not making 12 changes here, people. Yeah, some people might think, what? Raya's our goalkeeper, Calafiori, and the other three are there due to injuries. So that's pretty much, other than Timber, what we have to go with at the back. In midfield, We're only resting Declan Rice. Otherwise, that's the strongest midfield that we can get. And we're only really resting Saka in the front line because some say it's a flip of a coin between Trossard and Martinelli. So let's be real. When everyone's fit, we're only really missing 3 or 4 players there. So I actually think that is a really good 11 that I think should be able to compete and beat Brentford. So that's what I'm going to be saying. That's my team. Let me know what your 11 would be. Put it in the chat now. Let me know what you would go with. Do you think this is fair to rotate, or do you think this is not strong enough to beat Brentford? I think it is strong enough to beat Brentford. I really do. Big up to Jen. I hope you're well, darling. Let us know your 11 for tomorrow night, Jenny. We're talking about who we're going to put in the 1 to 11. Obviously, I've spoken about some changes, which is the 11 that I would go with here. But I do think that it could be something different, and I do think Arteta could be making changes. What I think he might do, I do think this will be the front three. I actually do. I actually do think this will be the front three. I don't think Lewis-Skelly will play there. I actually think Lewis-Skelly will play instead of Calafiori. So I think here will be Lewis-Skelly. And then where Lewis-Skelly is here, I think that will probably be Marino. So I think this is probably what he will go with. I don't know that Timber will play, if I'm honest. But I think it could be something more like that. But let me know what your 11s would be, people, in the chat. Where are we? There we go. See, that's 6 players from our starting 11, not 3D. I agree with you. It's still a strong side. Still a strong side. Make sure you're following OK Jerseys, people. Make sure you got the code 12man. You get 8% off for Christmas. Make sure that you're doing that. We've got a super chat here from AMT. Says, I need our wingers to do more crosses to Gyökeres. Yeah, I actually agree with you. Big up to my boy Jay. Legend, man. I actually think that we do need to see more of this. I don't know that we are still playing to Gyökeres' strengths. I do think there's an opportunity to do a lot more for him. So I'm actually in the boat of let's actually try and get the ball to him a lot more. It seems now that we're playing it in and around him, and he's just a piece that's getting in the way at times when he was playing in the first few handful of games. Gyökeres can score, man, and he will score, and he will continue to score. And let's not be mistaken. The last time he played, other than the Chelsea game, of course, where he come back, I thought he was our best player against Burnley in the first 45. I thought he was excellent. That's where I'm at. Good lineup, Potts. Look, let's be realistic. Let me know what you think. What would your 11 be? Put it in the chat. We'll discuss it. But I think that's what we need to do and rotate a little bit. That's what I'm saying. I think we need to actually be aware that we've got a very difficult game against Aston Villa off the back of 3 horrible games against Bayern, Spurs and Chelsea. I think he's going to have to rotate. I'm sorry. I don't want to see Declan Rice. I don't want to see Timber. And I don't want to see Saka. They're the 3 that I do not want to see because I feel like they need a rest for sure. So that one's going to be interesting. Look, we've got some games coming up thick and fast, people. We've got some games coming up thick and fast that are going to be very difficult for us. It does not get any easier. But we have been to some tough places already, right? We have been to some tough places already. We have been already to Old Trafford. We've already been to Anfield. We've already been to St. James's Park. We've already been to Stamford Bridge. And on top of that, we've had Spurs and Manchester City both play us at home. That's a really, really tough fixture list that if I would have said to you, we're top of the league by 5 points, you'd bit my hand off for. On top of the fact we've been to the Stadium of Light as well. Now, we've got some easy games coming up as well. Don't get me wrong. On paper, no game's easy. But if you said to me now, we've got Wolves to play at home, Sunderland to play at home, Burnley to play at home, Brentford, of course, to play at home soon. And we've still got some of the teams down the bottom to play at home. You would sit there and say, I'll take that. I'll take that. But we have also got some very difficult games. And one of those games is coming up tomorrow night, and of course at the weekend. Villa is going to be very, very tough. And I look at the fixtures that we've got, and I just think the next few are really, really big for us. Like, they're really big because it's going to tell us now. The Christmas period is always when people start talking about who's where, who's doing like what in terms of where they are in the league. And I just think Brentford, Villa, Wolves, Everton. In between that, we've got Club Brugge in the Champions League, which, let's be real, we need to win just to confirm we're getting into the top 8. We've got Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. And then we start again looking at who we've got with Brighton at home and then Aston Villa again at home. So we've got Villa within like literally the same month. So that none of them are easy. I don't look at any of them games to go, that's it. Maybe Wolves at home is with one that you could say you'd be disappointed if you weren't turning up and taking 3 points in. All the others, it really is a flip of a coin with Arsenal when you've got this many fixtures. Like, we play 17 games between now and February the 1st. That is an insane amount of games to play. So we're going to have to rotate people. We're going to have to. Okay, let me give you a prediction before I go into some of the other tonight's and tomorrow's games. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. I think it's going to be tough. I think Igor Thiago is going to be a player that's going to be difficult for us. And I do think they've got When on Fire, Damsgaard, Lewis Potter, a few other players that can cause us problems, right? So I actually think it's going to be 2-1 Arsenal, and I do think that we'll win the game. And I do think it will be a tight game, but I'll take the 3 points. As for the other games tonight, let's take a look. We've got Fulham and Manchester City. I'd love to say that Fulham will take a point, and a lot of people believe it could be 1-1 or 2-2. I actually think Manchester City win this game 2-1. I think they're going to have too much for Fulham, a side that had a brilliant result against Spurs, but in reality have been poor this season. So I expect Fulham, Man City to be a tight one, but I do believe that Man City will win it. Let me know what you think, Fulham or Manchester City. Let me know your scoreline in the chat. I'm going to go for 2-1 Manchester City. I just hope I'm wrong, but I think they'll do it. Bournemouth-Everton, today at 7:30. I'm going to go with a draw, and I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I just think Everton might come up and shut up shop a bit. And Bournemouth have been very good to watch, by the way, but I don't think they've been unbelievable at the moment. So, yeah, they're a bit up and down, but they're very good to watch. Very good to watch. Let's be real. So I'll go for a draw. Newcastle-Tottenham. I mean, this is the one we're all looking forward to tonight, right? It is embarrassing from Spurs. It's been a shambles from Tottenham Hotspur. And I think they're going to get beaten tonight quite comfortably. I'm going to go 2-0 to Newcastle. I think it's going to be a very easy game for them. I don't think Tottenham have got enough. I just think that we're going to be in a position where we see Tottenham Hotspur struggling. And Thomas Frank right now is under severe pressure. So that, for me, is why I'm going to go for 2-0 to Newcastle. But let me know your thoughts in the chat on the scores. It'd be good to get an understanding of where you are at. Okay, next game is Brighton versus Villa, and that is tomorrow at 7:30. Brighton Villa is going to be an absolute cracker. And I'm going to go 2-2. But a really good game. Really good game. Two teams that are flying right now. Brighton are good at home. Villa are very good at the moment in general. I'm going to go 2-2. I think Brighton will take something off Villa. Burnley, Crystal Palace. I just think Palace will have too much for them. Burnley are not a team that's impressed me. And I am going to go for a 2-1 win to Crystal Palace. Forest have got Wolves at Molineux, and I just don't see how Wolves take anything from anyone at the moment, even Forest under Dyche. I'm going to go for a stinky 1-0 win for Forest. I think it's going to be a poor game. I've given you my understanding of Arsenal Brentford. I'm going to go 2-1. Leeds versus Chelsea. I think 2-0 Chelsea. I don't think Leeds, albeit they were quite oppressive against Man City, I think Chelsea will have too much for them, and I think they'll win 2-0. And I think Liverpool will get another win at Anfield against Sunderland. I think it'll be a very tight game, though. I'll go 2-1 Liverpool, but I do think that's going to be a tight game and one that I'd be very interested to see the result on. So that's where I'm at for that. Okay, people, do me a favor one last time. Go and check out my merch. The link is pinned in the live chat now. You can go and take a look at this amazing merch. And Fran's Football Art is where you need to be following. She's been fantastic. When you click on the link, it will take you to this page. Anything that you do order, please use the code FTM20. You'll get 20% off for Christmas. Make sure you do that. If you'd like the hoodie that I've got on now that I'm wearing, it is this one on the left. There's a picture of me wearing it outside the Emirates. You've got the T-shirt as well in white or in other colors. If you want it in other colors, that's a picture of me outside the Emirates wearing it. The design is absolutely sick of Thierry Henry. And of course, you've got the trophies, you've got the cannons, you've got Arsenal station, you've got Highbury, you've got the Emirates, and of course, you've got the name and design and graffiti down the bottom. So please make sure that you go and check this out. If you would like the hoodie on the back of it, then you can use it here like this as I'm modeling outside the Emirates. That a lot of people do like and a lot of people are buying. And also, if it is not just the clothing that you want, we have also got accessories as well. We've got a mug, which is a great present for Christmas. We've got a photo frame, which is also great for Christmas. If you are into football, there's a drinks bottle here. as modelled here with a pair of footy boots over the AstroTurf. If you would like one of those as well, they are available. And if you just want to get one of the posters to put on your wall, they're available too. Or, of course, we've got a mouse mat. So go and show some love. Make sure you click on the link to the description. Make sure you click on the live link that's pinned to the section now. And big up to Fran's Football Art, who has been unbelievable. She's been wonderful, to be fair. Hit the like button if you're new, and make sure you subscribe if you're new. You can follow me on TikTok and socials at DanArsenal87. And we are on audio platforms now as well. If you just go to Spotify and type in Football's 12th Man, you don't want to listen to all the YouTube adverts and all that, then you can just listen on the tube audio, download it, or on the car journey home, whatever you want. We are now on audio, people. I wasn't going to do it, but I was told, yeah, do it. We want to listen to you on audio. Cool. Go on to Spotify and make sure that you're doing that on the audio platform as well. Big up to everyone that's here. I'll be on tonight and AFTV at 7 o'clock with Cecil. And then I'll be on at 10 p.m. here for the Arsenal Roundabout with all of the panel. Take care. We'll see you next time. We're out of here, people. Laters.